Trove. Where do I even start? Yeah, this is gonna be a pretty ranty video. Trove is a free-to-play, voxel-based sandbox RPG. It sounds interesting, and it definitely can be done well with a good amount of work. However, that is where the game starts to fail. The work just hasn't been put in. Trove is full of plain-out amazing concepts, design, and systems. Oh yeah, and music. Most of the Trove music is unbelievably catchy, and I'm gonna use it in the background music of this video, so yeah, isn't it nice? Anyways, there's gonna be a lot to unpack in this video, and there is a lot of history to look into to try to understand why I'm titling Trove the best bad game. Trove's biggest problem is the core of the game. Saying Trove is unoptimized is an understatement. It is almost always laggy, and even with a good computer, you will still see that the game runs at a lower frame rate than many other modern first-person shooter games. Trove's basic gameplay loop is, to be honest, a complete dumpster fire. Basically, you choose a class, then you go raid dungeons in a world of your level to get better gear. What do you do next? Equip the gear, then move up and go grind more dungeons for even better gear. What do you do next? Maybe upgrade your new gear, move up into a harder world, and grind more gear. What do you do next? Upgrade gear, grind dungeons, get new gear, grind dungeons, get XP, grind dungeons, get more gear, grind dungeons, move up a world, grind dungeons, get XP, grind dungeons, get more gear, grind dungeons, upgrade gear, grind dungeons, move up a world, grind dungeons, world is too hard, leech, get XP, get new gear, move up a world, world is even harder, leech, get XP, get new gear, quit game because you can't do anything. Trove's current gameplay is good in the sense of how the user uses it, but the gameplay is thrown into a world where it's all pointless. Plenty of classes can be fun to play, especially when combined with a class gem, but when all you are thrown up against is dungeon after dungeon of either trash ads or bullet sponge bosses, you will get bored and disappointed. There are other modes, like delves, which I don't even want to talk about, and the PvP that I don't even want to try to mention, so you can guess that they're not worth considering as an excuse. There needs to be more work put into where the gameplay takes place. There should be an all-you-can-fight arena mode, and there should be Dark Souls-like boss fights with mechanics inside of more complex dungeons. You might think that there would have to be more advanced dungeons as you progress through the game, but the truth is, bigger dungeons are just made up of a bunch of tiny dungeons. And what is sad is that the only thing these dungeons consist of are one of two different kinds of objectives, a bullet sponge boss or a puny wave of enemies. When you get up to the current highest rank world, you end up facing one biome that has to be the most thing to look at in all of gaming. The whole area has a bright red surface and ugly green-blue interiors. The game throws away all of its previous assets to make you fight in the ugliest space you have ever seen. It basically makes fun of you for playing the game by placing you as a clown into an infinite circus. Well then, sounds pretty bad, doesn't it? Well, no lying, it is. However, I believe with enough work this could be a great game. The problem is, this game was started on a low budget and rotten to the core, and has now been purchased by another company with no visible plans to update the game in a meaningful way in the future. The sad thing is that this game was once popular, and was extremely profitable, but the new owners just seemed to strip every little bit of meat off the bone after the old owners starved it to death. The game wasn't the only casualty, unfortunately. Every single Trove YouTuber is now comparatively a dead channel, while they used to get upwards of 100,000 views per video. That's what happens when your audience is grounded on one thing that gets a popularity surge. Fortnite. But besides this game being bad, what makes it the best out of the rest of the bad games? Well, this game, as mentioned before, has potential in its combat and gameplay mechanics. The cornerstone system is cool, and I really enjoy building in this game, as it is much more meaningful to build in a game like this than it is in a game like Minecraft. In Minecraft, your capability of sharing your builds is limited, and others will never see your builds while just walking around. However, when building a club world in Trove, it's shared within the game, and your cornerstones travel with you. Everyone can see them. There are plenty of other praises I can give it, like design and music, but that is not something that should come first in a game. Stuff like this is added on later after a good gameplay loop is established. And I think that is another thing Trove did wrong. At the end of the day, I realize this is a bad game given today's standards and current options. None of the friends I made on this game lasted because we all left each other at mostly different times once we got tired of Trove. The biggest thing keeping me into the game back then was the club world. The game is a lot more pay to win now, and honestly, I don't think it has gotten any better in the span of a whole year. So, try it at your own risk. I know it ended up being a pretty somber video, and I got stuck on my simple script just trying to come up with nice things to say. If you would like to see more content from me in the future, make sure to subscribe because statistically, literally nobody does that. I have, no joke, less than 1% of my common viewers subscribe, which is probably common for a small channel, but This video is very different from my usual content because I'm trying to move more into the general gaming category of content instead of strictly one game. I am designing the title and thumbnail differently because, hey, I can only try new things to succeed, right? Hopefully YouTube doesn't throw me into the dumpster for the experiment, but you never know. If it hits right, it very well could explode. Yeah, if you liked, obviously, like, goodbye.